Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host, Sean Garmer. Here with me, as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
We are coming to you at a really late time. Don't like doing it this hour, but sometimes things happen. Anyway, there are some things to talk about on this week. We finally got the confirmation that Call of Duty will be on Xbox Game Pass. It's going to be called Black Ops 6. They're going to do the full reveal at that thing that we already know is going to happen after the Xbox showcase on June 9th. But Microsoft rolled that out, so we'll talk about that. There's some rumors going around about an actual full Astrobot game that could be coming to the PlayStation 5 and could be announced pretty quickly here at that supposed PlayStation showcase that's happening. At some point, they said it was going to be in May. Now let's see whenever it happens.
They got 3 days left.
I guess they do. That would be kind of. I mean, they've done it before, right? Where they just announce it and then it's like, oh, it's 2 days later. But they did announce some cool things for PlayStation coming for that days of play stuff. That's happening. Shift Up wants to do more with Stellar Blade. That's not so surprising, but. We got that and some more things to talk about, including Nintendo actually acquiring a studio. It's been a while for them. So until then, let's get that going right now.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
All right. How was your Memorial Day festivities?
Fine. I just had a friend come out, and that was about it. I had him come out Saturday, I think.
Oh, that's cool. He had him hang out with you there?
He wanted to see my game collection, so I showed him some of that. He was suitably impressed.
Yeah, it was the last minute. I was at the gym. Somebody calls me and goes, "Hey, you want to take us to the beach?" And I was like, "Okay." But then they go, "Oh, we're gonna go to South Beach," and I was like, "You would do that on Memorial Day weekend where it's gonna be nuts." But okay, yeah.
If someone said that to me, I'd have been like, "No, but I can meet you up there, so I don't have to, drag her at, be beholden to you using my car."
Oh, we split a lot of stuff, so it's not like, there was some, I guess, good stuff to it, other than the fact that it was freaking packed as hell. And trying to navigate that entire area was crazy with all the police and all that stuff around there. So, but we got to see the fighter jets and all that stuff there, so it was kind of cool to go do that. And then work has been absolutely ridiculous. So unfortunately, my plan was to talk about Hellblade 2 on this episode, but every time I literally could sit there and think about playing Hellblade 2, I either would fall asleep or something came up and I had to go do that. So that will have to be for next week. But like I said, we do have some things to talk about here. So I guess let's go ahead with everybody on the Xbox train. Well, just I guess we could talk about, like, I didn't expect Hellblade 2 to be 90 Metacritic or anything like that. But were you surprised by kind of the highs and lows of what people were saying about
it? It seemed pretty standard to me. Like, it wasn't going to be like the best game ever or anything. I mean, it's gotten average about 7s or 8s. I know GameSpot gave it like a 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of falls in line with most Xbox releases these days.
I'm interested still to play it because a lot of the talk has been that they made the combat more cinematic, which makes it to where, okay, so it's not as fumbly as the first game, but then maybe you didn't make it. Then sometimes it feels like it's not fully a game also. So,
yeah, combat might be like a little more involved, but it's still not like a full game, like a fully featured game necessarily, or like a an epic that like God of War is or
Right.
something like that.
I'm excited just to see it on the screen. Everything I've seen, it looks amazing. So that's one I want to get through. And then of course it's supposed to be short, so that's good too. I don't have to sit there for 40 hours and play this thing.
Well, that's the thing.
But
I think the CEO is like, "Oh, it's a 9-hour game," and everyone's finishing it in like 5.
yeah, you have to love that as well. It's like, okay, this is a little bit shorter than I think most people thought, but
Yeah,
hey, at least it's
it's a
something
good.
you can play on Game Pass, and
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good Game Pass game because you can blow through it
right.
in 1 or 2 sittings.
That's where that whole like value for money thing probably comes in for a lot of people. Like $50, I don't know, for 5 hours. A lot of people are going to probably have conversations about that, I'm sure. But one thing that we know always brings out the value for people: Call of Duty. It's I guess it's a good idea. Microsoft kind of got ahead of it because there was already kind of leaks coming out that it's pretty much a done deal. It's going to be on Game Pass, and that it will be called Black Ops 6. So the title got revealed by Microsoft themselves
So this
with
is
a
the one
live
that's gonna have
action
Terra.
trailer.
This is the
Yeah,
one that's gonna have Terra in it, right?
I guess. Yeah, right.
Sweet.
Uh,
You
the
you gotta face off against the evil jester clown.
do you like that it's going to be the next Black Ops or
No, I don't
uh,
care anymore. I
right?
mean, it's getting up to 6 is kind of just hilarious on its own, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with them continuing that. Like that was kind of the rumors going in that it was going to be a Black Ops game, so that's
Yeah.
not too surprising. I guess we'll get the full reveal when they do that. After that showcase, it is going to come out around late October, as most of the Call of Duties tend to do. Early November, late October kind of thing.
Yep.
The live action trailer looks neat, but I kind of just want to see gameplay because a lot of the trailers for Call of Duty, especially, can be kind of very deceiving. So we'll see how that goes. But I know we kind of had a little bit of this conversation last time. But I guess just to humor the people that maybe didn't watch that or whatnot, listen to it.
What?
It's actually official, right? Now that it's actually official, is there a bigger chance that this is bad for Xbox than it is good? Because you're going to get people that would have spent that $70 and then just go, oh, I'll just pay $17 to play it on Game Pass.
I think it all depends on the actual quality of the game because Call of Duty, especially past 2 years, has been kind of an up and down franchise. So if it hits like original Modern Warfare or Black Ops 2 or something, they'll keep people hooked for a year. But if it hooks like if it hits like Vanguard or one of the less like Ghost or something, like you'll play for a month and go, all right, screw this.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people had not so great thoughts about Modern Warfare 3 last year, about how it was just kind of like DLC for Modern Warfare 2 and all that stuff.
Yeah, like they had like 6 or 7 new maps and they just bolted in all the old ones, and I was like, there you go. It's like, what?
Yeah. So at least this one feels like it's going to be its own full thing, and they're going to really put into it with the story mode, so you'll get a lot out of it. I do worry about that for my, I mean, it was like one of those things we talked about this last week. It's like you're either doomed if you do or doomed if you don't. And if you don't do it, then you're lying to everybody about how every first party game is supposed to be on Game Pass and all this stuff. And then that will be then okay, does this mean that that's the end, right? Like that we start counting the days until we start having things not appear on there. I do wonder if they have to reconsider if they do see a large chunk of people. I don't think people will cancel their pre-orders. There's a lot of people that buy that game and it's the only game they buy, so it doesn't really matter to them. I think it is good for the people that don't want to spend the $70, but now you bought the game and you want your friends to play, and all they have to do is pay the $17 to play it on Game Pass. I think that is a good idea. You could bring in a lot more people to play the multiplayer. Not that you don't already have that anyway with Call of Duty as usual, but I think that's a positive. But I do wonder if, like every other thing that happens with Game Pass, how many sales get cannibalized from people that just go, I'm going to use that $70 for like another game or for something else that I could actually buy instead, and then just play it on Game Pass until it goes on sale, because it always inevitably does. Activision games tend to, Call of Duty tends to kind of hold its own for a while, but it will usually, by the time you get like Black Friday, it'll at least go down $20 or something, $30, and that might be enough for people to just go, all right, I'll grab it now, Yeah, I think I would imagine that Satya and all the money people at Microsoft, that is the number one thing they're going to be monitoring, of how many people are deciding that they're not going to buy this game and just buy it off Game Pass. How many subs for Game Pass do you get off of putting your number one game on there that used to never be on there before, right? Activision didn't put any of their games on the services and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I just want them to be appreciative. It may go up like a percentage point or something, but it's not going to be like, oh, Call of Duty's now on Game Pass. There's 50 million more subscribers. It's like, no. It'll be like, here's 200,000 more or something. That'll be about it.
Yeah, and then I would imagine that they would probably just drop it after a couple of months or whatever. I don't think.
Yeah, they'll get their fill or their prestige or whatever, and be like, all right, well, I'm good.
Yeah. They'll definitely be showing more here soon, but for the folks that were worried about, Game Pass suffering because Black Ops and Call of Duty was not going to be on there, it officially is. Do you think that means that we're now going to get the drop of the other Call of Duties at that showcase now?
Maybe, but I think it might. It depends on if they just drop like that day, or if they go like, oh, it's 6 months from now, or next year or whatever, because they don't want to cannibalize the potential sales of this new one and whatever.
Right. I definitely think you'll get some stuff, because they always like to do that. Dropping, okay, here's some of the Activision games you might be able to play. Maybe not that day, but next month or something, and maybe they drop like a few of the older Call of Duties, not like Modern Warfare 3 on there or something. And
I would say everything up to maybe like the Xbox One generation. That's okay. If you're gonna go play Advanced Warfare or something, go at it.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, just to get people going. They could Call of Duty has been so strong. Honestly, they could just have one come out once a month, and it would be a big deal for people. Especially to play through those story modes and stuff. So they have a good kind of leeway of how they want to release that. So go them for officially, I guess, making it a thing, and we'll see how it goes from there. Just to stay on the Microsoft topic for a little bit longer, they did sign a deal to finance former Rocksteady devs' first game. According to Expedia, this 100-Star Games, which is based in London, they're going to be working on a AAA single-player action-adventure title that will be made in Unreal 5, similar to Hellblade 2. And Microsoft is financing the project, so that means it would probably be Xbox and PC only for a while. Knowing how Xbox stuff goes, who knows if it shows up on PlayStation or not. Considering how, the last Rocksteady game was received, having former devs from that studio go and do their own thing, does this kind of give you any kind of excitement or anything, knowing that what they've done previous to?
Potentially, but I have, all the talented people who made like the Arkham games already left, so hopefully it's some of those people, not the dregs who remained at Rocksteady, or my problem is more like, Microsoft just killed 2 studios, and they're killing off a lot of their, I wouldn't say like most popular games, but well-liked games, or like Hi-Fi Rush and all that stuff. So it's like, okay,
Right.
you're gonna finance this game from an unproven studio. Why? Like, or like how much are you gonna dump into this thing?
Yeah,
And it's
it's
not,
all about pedigree. It's all about where that comes from, right?
yeah, but it's not like it won't be Batman and Arkham 4 or anything. It's gonna be some like made up character, or like new character or new property or something. So hopefully they can do something with it, cool with it. But that's kind of a dangerous prospect with a new IP these days.
Yeah, no, I mean that's not the
Yeah.
first one, right? We talked about the Activision studio that were just getting made to do AAA stuff last week, or
Although it would be
the last time.
it
Yeah,
would be funny if they put on the like the sticker in the box that says from the actual people who made Arkham Knight, or the Arkham series.
yeah. I mean, technically they could do that, right? They could put it in the trailer.
Yeah.
So to get people hyped for that, whenever it is that game's going to come out, because if they're just starting on it now, then that's like
Right.
5 years.
That's like right.
Well, we're talking about the Xbox, whatever the heck the next thing is called, for that probably. But again, interesting that we just closed studios, supposedly, according to some news reports and everything. Ninja Theory's next game is already greenlit, so whatever Hellblade 2 does is not gonna be actually the thing that either puts the nail in the coffin or whatever. They're gonna continue on. So that's still going, but then you got people opening up new studios and you're financing them, and then you're dropping studios that already had games. So very interesting time for this stuff all to come out. It just sounds so bad when it
Yeah.
all comes out at once. So, and then not to mention again, you have to wait so long for the seeds to bear fruit that you're deciding to spend the money on instead of continue with the studios that you had. So
Right.
yeah, it's a lot of interesting stuff right now for Microsoft as far as what decisions they're making, what Xbox is doing. Again, a lot of that hinges on that June 9th, what they show. Is it going to excite people? What's happening with that? We'll see. Before we get off the Microsoft track here, I see that you played Diablo 4. Did you play the new season or?
Yeah, that's what I'm actually playing now.
Okay.
I'm not like I maxed out the season pass, and I don't know what they changed. I know they gave me one with the digital deluxe version, like a season booster thing. I somehow got
Yeah.
two. I don't know why. The second one might have been some Amazon Prime thing or whatever. So I used one of those, and that was kind of nice. So got the cool looking horse now. The game's a little better than it launched at. Uh, that's about it. I mean,
Well, so for the people that don't, maybe they stop playing Diablo, or folks that they're just starting with Game Pass, and like what is it? What's the big thing about this season that people are just?
they reworked how loot hand drops. Kind of like before, you could just rank up any piece of gear you had up to 5 slots or 5 times. Now you can't really do that. What you can do now is replace or add on like kind of keyword, or like kind of like paradigms of like, oh, here's a new offensive ability, or here's a new defensive one, and you can kind of keep re-rolling that for a certain amount of time, like 4 or 5 times or whatever, and hope you get the right one you want. uh Once you get like max level though, then you can like what they call master work it, where you can like re-roll some, you can like keep adding on to something up to 15 times, just making it like better and better. uh yeah, it's weird. It's an interesting system, kind of. uh I mean, I'm using my like a new character, so I can't explore it like that well, but it's good.
All right. I mean, what kind of character you decide to use this
Now
time?
I'm playing a rogue. So I'm just bow and arrowing everything to death. It's I'm trying to think. I started a mage with Jens, but we just beat the game and I stopped playing it. My other character was a necromancer. So it's different from that, just because it's a very simple class compared to necromancer, I feel, but it's all right.
All right. I mean, as long as you're
Uh,
enjoying it, that's what matters.
yeah, I'll talk about two other things real quick. Also, while we're on my BS, I got my MiG Switch cartridge in a few days ago.
Oh, is that flashcard thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I found a good torrent with some Switch. Like, you need to have like a specific Switch file, or it needs to
Okay,
like,
be
be
careful
funky.
here because I don't want this
Well,
whole episode getting taken down by Nintendo. So be
no,
careful.
I did. No, I downloaded a few games that I already own. So
Okay.
I downloaded like Bayonetta 2, Kirby, and something else. Oh, Mario Odyssey.
Okay.
So Kirby runs fine, and so does Mario Odyssey. But Bayonetta 2 is like wonky, and it's not the game's fault. It's the cartridge is like weirdly made. Like, to switch games, you have to like pop it in and out. So in the
That's
first
interesting.
night, it worked fine. It swapped between all three games. Second night and third night, well, since I've had it basically, the second night it only swapped between like the Mario game, Mario Odyssey. Like, I would push it in and it would just keep reading that one. And it's like, yo, dog, I know you got two other games on here. I know, I put them on here, like, but it wouldn't swap to it. And I upgraded
So
the
there's no
firmware.
way to just select it and play
No,
it
well,
off
that's what I'm
there?
going to get
No.
into in a second.
Yeah.
It's like, I have to get rid of the firmware, and then it started swapping between Mario and Kirby, but not Bayonetta 2. And it's still doing that. It only swapped between like the two games. So I did a whole bunch of stuff and it still won't do it. So I looked in the Reddit, and like, I think it was like just like yesterday or 2 days ago, they were like, oh, we're announcing a version 2 of our product that comes with a button on the top that lets you like swap carts automatically or swap it without having like pop the cart in and out. And it's like, and they're like, oh, if you didn't get your unit yet from version 1, like the version 1 order, you'll be getting a version 2 order. And I was like, well, great, I got mine like 3 days before this happened, motherfuckers. It's like, how about,
They won't let you return it?
no, of course not, because it's like some
Yeah.
shady company.
Yeah.
It's like, how about you send me a new one, or I can send you back this old one that a lot of other people seem to be having
That
problems with.
basically doesn't work the way
Yeah,
you were the beta tester so that they could go and make this better one that works the way you
yeah,
want it to
people
work.
want. I mean, people still want, like, just like you put it in and you get like a menu of like, oh, I got 14
exactly
games in
your
this thing or
whole
something. I mean, that may come out eventually. It may not. I mean, I'm not gonna put like 800 games in this thing. I'll put like 5 of them on here, just so I don't have to keep swapping carts in and out. That's all I care about. But yeah, it's annoying. I'd be happy if they were like, oh, send us your unit back and give us $10 more bucks or $20 or something for an upgrade. Like, that'd be fine. But no, it's gonna like, screw you.
that's
I did start playing Mario RPG finally. The new one.
the remake.
It's good. I got
Yeah.
it to you said you played it. I got it to Gino, or I just got him unlocked, or I did that like boss fight. That game still holds up really well.
You like the nicer, like, where you can actually do the pressing A at the right time and feel like you're actually blocking
So that's weird. They show that like the little exclamation point, like when you can attack or dodge, or time dodging. They only show it. It only happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like A bug?
Well, what it is like it's supposed to be the better you get at it, eventually it
Yeah.
just goes away and stops showing it,
Oh,
so
okay.
that you don't
I don't like
just
that then.
always hit it, right?
Yeah, I like that. Like, it's like, just keep showing this to me. I don't care. Like, you don't have achievements in this ecosystem, so who gives a fuck if you're making it like super easy or not? Like,
Yeah.
I like the triple, like the team up attack thing, or the
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
well, now that I got Gino, it's like, okay, now I can actually do an attack, not just toad assist. It's like, great. Who cares?
Yeah, because at first, yeah, that's exactly is like that's all it is.
The one thing that is weird, and I don't know if it would have actually changed the game much or not, but they do a lot more like cutscenes in this thing. It would have been nice to have voice acting in the cutscenes at least.
But it's Mario. Do you really expect them to have voice acting?
Yeah, because fucking Peach talks all the goddamn time now. Like, if you don't want to give Mario a voice, that's fine. Or like, if you want to have Mario talk, that's one thing. But everyone else can talk.
Right.
So they should have got like Idris Elba to voice Gino or something and go from there.
I don't Idris Elba. I think he's pretty busy.
I mean, Gino doesn't talk that much. They can just get him for like half a day or something.
Yeah.
But the last thing I'll mention, and this happened last weekend, but I went to the big comic convention around these parts, and that was fun.
That's the Motor City one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they can't just call it Detroit one. I got to come up with some stupid name. It was annoying to get around. Like, I got there super early, and there were a lot of long lines, and I should have got there early because I got a good parking spot and was waiting on my car until it opened. Instead of just waiting in line for 2 hours or like an hour.
Did you have to wait too long?
Hour and a half. I got there like 8:30, and they let us in at like 9:15 to get a wristband, and then they'd like walk across outside like the entire convention hall to get like to another door to wait again to be let in.
Yeah.
It's like I should have just got in at 10, got my wristband then and there, and just walked in from the ticket office. But
did you get to meet any the famous folks?
Yeah, let's see. The 5 people I saw that I really wanted to meet, I was able to meet. Amy Jo Johnson, who was the first Pink Ranger.
Right.
She signed some, like, I had everyone sign some stuff. That's how you basically pay to meet or whatever. Grey Delisle, she's a voice actress I really like. Who else? Oh, who else? Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny because I haven't signed my Breaking Bad barrel.
Must have been interesting.
Well, it's funny because the guy behind me had another one too. So it's like,
like here,
I don't know
just
how many
sign
people,
both of these here.
Pretty much, yeah. I met a guy. I don't know if you know him, Tom F. Wilson.
Yeah, I feel like I do, but I can't place
the name. Yeah, you don't know the name. He was Biff in Back to the Future.
Okay, yeah, okay. I know who Biff.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. He even wrote a book about it. So, he was really nice. Like, everyone was actually pretty nice. The last one I met was Jennifer Morrison.
Yeah, from House and
yeah. It's funny. Yeah.
Once Upon a Time, I think too, right?
Yeah, she was like the main on that. So like, Tom F. Wilson was a big dude. I mean, I think he's like 6'2" or 6'1". He like everyone else was a lot like smaller than I thought. Or you just had this like image in your head or something. But like I think like Amy Jo Johnson's like 5'2". And it's like,
I remember her. They always saying she was short. Yeah.
It's like I'm not an especially tall guy or anything, but
yeah.
And let's see, the 2 most popular people there. I didn't go on the William Shatner Day,
right,
just because I would have felt like trolling him, and that would not have gone well for anyone.
Right.
The 2 most popular people there were a guy from Avatar, Dante Brasco or Belasco.
Okay, yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, Dante Basco. That's sorry.
Mm.
He was Zuko, I think, on the show,
Right.
and then Tom Kenny, who voices like SpongeBob.
Of course.
Well, it was kind of surprising to me. Like, I didn't get to see these people, but I'd have been way more interested in seeing like Ernie Hudson or Heather Graham or some other people.
Well, I mean, you got to think for the generation, right? If it were,
Right?
of the older, the younger ones probably do want to.
Yeah, the older heads.
Yeah.
It was cool. I was there for like 2 hours, and then I had to leave because I was tired. Like, I did not sleep at all like that night, so I was extremely exhausted.
Yeah. And then walking around, that's probably not helping.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. Is I was using my knee walker just to help a little, and yeah, like I had to keep going back up to my car and dropping shit off and picking more crap up. So,
Oh, gosh, like double
yeah.
the work.
Right. But yeah, it was a cool event. I spent about $300.
I mean, those are those things you got to spend the money to kind of get a lot out of it, really.
Well, it was funny because I talked to Jens about it, and he was like, "Oh, I used to go to conventions but everyone was like $20," and I was like, "Well, it's not like that anymore."
Yeah,
And
no
also,
more.
And also, like, I think Charlie Hunnam was there. He was like 100 or like 120 or something.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went 2 years ago, like Matt Smith was like 200. So it all depends on.
And that was when he just started with House of Dragon, I think, right? So
yeah.
So it's like it all depends on like how popular the actor is, or how popular they are. So
well, I mean, like if you're gonna compare stuff to going to conventions back when it's $20, I mean, I remember when concert tickets were like, hey, you could pay, $60
Right.
and get a good seat.
The sad thing for you was they had 3 wrestlers there,
Yeah,
and no one cared.
It
was Lex Luger, Farouk.
Ron Simmons.
Yeah.
Some
people. He was a little busy, I think.
Yeah.
And Scott Steiner.
Nobody wanted to see Big Papa Pump. I mean, come on.
With the chainmail and
with the chainmail and everything. Wow.
Yeah. Oh man, some of the people you just see like they have like an open, like you couldn't see Tom Kenny through his like line of people,
Right.
But some of the people, they just had like an open line, or like no one. It's like, wow, I feel kind of bad now.
Yeah, like I mean, Lex Luger, I don't know. It's like I don't know if
Yeah.
I would care, but yeah, I want to go be like, okay, Ron Simmons, give me a damn. We need
Right.
some of this, right? Like
Exactly. You got to record that one for posterity.
Exactly. Yes. We'll put it on the intro to the podcast and everything. So,
but it was cool, and now you can go back to games.
Yes, I mean, well, it's sort of gaming related, but yeah. So we go from Xbox to PlayStation here. They announced a lot of the 2024 Days of Play stuff that they're going to be doing, which includes, hey, you can go buy the PS Plus subscription and get 30% off right now. They have $50 off the PS5, $100 off the PSVR 2. And they also announced all the, PlayStation Plus stuff that's going to be coming. So speaking of SpongeBob SquarePants, the Cosmic Shake, that's the remake or remaster, whatever that they did. The THQ Nordic people did. Speaking of THQ Nordic, also AEW Fight Forever, which both of us played and everything. That was fine.
We reasonably enjoy. Yeah, it's not like the best game, but it's also not like terrible. And I'd rather have a mediocre cheap game than an expensive, mediocre game.
Yeah, I mean, that game is the gameplay is fun. It's just for me the modes just kind of didn't do much, but it's their first shot at it. So again, it makes sense. Streets of Rage 4 is awesome. If you haven't played that yet, go do it. If that's not already, when it comes out in a little bit, in a few days or whenever it is supposed to hit. Then starting they're going to include PSVR 2 games in there for PS Plus Premium members starting on June 6th. So if you do happen to have a PSVR 2, the small number of you, Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord, Walkabout Mini Golf Synth Riders Before Your Eyes, which is a really short, awesome game. You can also play on PC, but still it's an awesome game. And Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapters 1 and 2, those will all be available starting June 6th. And then they are going to add some PS2 classics starting on June 11th. I think there's more than these. Just these are the ones that they've announced, I think, is Tomb Raider Legend, Star Wars The Clone Wars, which that's fine. And then Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, of course, that's Sly 1, which, started it all for Sly. And I love the Sly Cooper games, so glad to see that's coming. And then they're going to be adding some games to the PS Plus Extra and Premium, or I don't know if this is all extra, whatever. Dredge is actually out now. Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 comes in a couple days. Cricket 24, the game everybody wants to play. And then Grand Theft Auto San Andreas Definitive Edition on June 7th. So There you go.
Hopefully it's finally fixed by now.
Somehow the Netflix versions of those games will still be better than the ones on PS Plus. But
yeah.
Hey, speaking of PlayStation, though, we got I really hope it's true, and I really do hope we see it soon, because this is one of the games I've been talking about that I wanted to see it happen, and it looks like it is happening. The Astrobot PS5 game. It's not a PSVR 2 game, thank God. It is a full-fledged PlayStation 5 platformer, Astrobot 2, whatever they're going to wind up calling it. It's supposed to get revealed pretty soon. Don't know if that's going to be a trailer drop, or that's going to be they're going to do this PlayStation showcase that supposedly was going to happen pretty soon. I'm excited. I'm happy that this is happening. What do you feel on this?
Yeah, like I'm sure the sales for the PSVR 2, considering they stopped making it because they have too many of them, like that's probably a good thing. But it's not a PSVR 2 only game.
I think they had to look at it from the perspective of Astrobot's Playroom came packed in with the PS5, but nobody ever had a bad thing to say about that game. Everybody loved it. It was it was a tech demo, but it was a really good game in its own right. And like, how could you just miss that and just be like, oh, let's put it on PlayStation VR 2?
Right.
Like, I think they had to know that it's a big missed opportunity if you don't put it on just PS5 for everybody.
Right.
I mean, I know that they're not going to be able. They're probably not going to do like a lot of Astro's Playroom also was the nostalgia stuff, right? Was the like
no,
you're going to collect, yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's not going to be that at all. It's going to be like the actual, like, here's these characters or this character, and they'll invent some stupid baddie for them, and
yeah,
what do they call it? Astro's Astronomical Playground or something Amazing Adventure or something like that.
I wonder if they're gonna do some cool stuff with the PS5 controller that nobody's done yet. And then nobody will ever do again, because
I mean, what more can they do with it? I guess like what more can they squeeze out of that thing? Like,
yeah. I mean, but that's what was cool about it, was that, like, it really shows you, okay, this is how the haptics work. This is how this works. Like, you can really feel the thing when you climb and all that stuff. Like, so,
right.
It's not going to have the novelty that game had for those kind of things, but Astrobot is also just a really cute character. I think he has potential to, a lot of people loved, Little Big Planet and all that stuff.
Right.
But I think this really does have the ability to possibly become, Sony's like big mascot or whatever if they can get this right.
Don't worry, that'll all come crashing down once Microsoft announces Blinks to Time Sweeper 3.
Oh yeah. One of these days it's gonna get announced, and I'm just gonna troll you really bad because you keep like wishing it into existence.
Yep.
So I'm hoping not, but
It's like, wasn't it Randy who was into Conquer? Was that?
No, that's Robert
Okay,
Taylor, who's the big Conquer person. Yeah. So, oh my gosh. One of these days, you watch at that June showcase. They're gonna be like, "Oh, our big announcement is Blinks of Time Sweeper 3."
Right.
That's when it's all hit the fan for Sony on that. But right now, that was leaked by Biblicoon, who usually is the one that leaks all the PS Plus stuff before Sony actually announces it and stuff like that. So he has a really good track record. But again, until it actually shows up, just take another rumor category for now. Something that's not a rumor, Shift Up says they already have plans for their next IP. It's codenamed Project Witches, and it's going to launch globally across console, PC, and mobile with crossplay. They want it to come out in 2027, and it's going to be kind of modeled after Genshin, Honkai, or Star Rail, that kind of thing. So free-to-play anime game, maybe, I guess. And they are planning a PC version of Stellar Blade and also a sequel with expanded DLC and new IP collabs. They did talk about the IP collabs already. It feels like no brainer. Nier is going to have some kind of collab with Stellar Blade, right? Like Yoko Taro's talking way too much to him to not.
Yeah. My two questions would be, I guess, how do you? I mean, I beat the game, so I know how it ends. I'm not going to spoil it, but it doesn't leave a lot of room for a sequel, at least necessarily.
Right, it's not direct, but they can make up something.
Yeah. And the second thing is, I can guarantee within about 4 minutes of it being on PC, the first nude mod will hit.
Oh yeah, you know that's happening. That will be the first thing, and then everybody will you'll start getting the people putting that all over social media, I'm sure. So
yeah,
those folks that thrive on that stuff will be very, very excited, I'm sure. So
just like what happens when it goes on Steam.
Yeah. Get ready for that. But I mean, that's good. That's good that it's doing well enough to get a sequel, and I don't know if Sony's gonna pay for it again or whatnot, but well, it worked out well the first time, it seems, so why not do it again, I guess. Great for Shift Up. Glad to hear that things are going well and they already kind of have their next thing planned, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, it's good that it's successful enough. So
no, yeah, that's what I'm happy about, is that it seems to be doing well. I still need to get to play more of it, but it you liked it a lot. I haven't really heard anybody say they didn't like it, so it's doing well. But something else that Sony did was they were kind of tasked with this event that they did to define creative entertainment vision for where they think technology is going to be in the next 10 years. And some were asked about where they think gaming is going to be in the next 10 years, which seemed to be a lot of AI is going to do this and AI is going to do that. Did you see any of this? Like, what did you?
No, thankfully, because I just made fun of it. I mean, it's going to be a lot more service games and a lot more
here's the 47th version of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. They were talking about, AI is going to help because it's going to go more into, because there's still this thought of we're going to have meld between, do the, what should we call the Ready Player One thing where we're going to meld more of VR and all that into gaming.
Yeah.
So it's going to be more sort of, instead of being about graphics, it's going to be more about narrative focus and how to meld those two together, make you really feel like you're in the game and all that stuff, So it seems interesting. I still don't buy it.
No.
But
it's like, here's this body-shaped condom you have to wear for you to feel anything.
Yeah. It's always this nice idea. I mean, like, when you really think about it, like, is that really the only thing that's left, is to finally get to that? Because almost everything else you've kind of done. And then the problem is that it feels like every time VR is going, you say VR is going somewhere, it goes somewhere. And then it hits a wall, right?
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about, like, the idea of VR being the future, or like the whole, like, it's going to be like Ready Player One. It's like, I don't know about the book, but the Ready Player One, like the movie, it had no stories. It was all like, you can just do whatever you want. And it's like,
well, yeah, it's like, that's the world you live in. So you basically,
right. But it's not
there.
like, not like a narrative based thing, or it's not like, oh, I get to, play through Assassin's Creed, or I get to play. I mean, I guess technically you could, but it's not like a new thing. It would just be like, here's, the bullshit from this guy from 40 years ago. It's like, oh, great, I can race around, I can dance around in the what the hell, the Shining Ballroom or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, but that's not new. That's just doing,
Right.
So,
well, it's basically like a giant MMO that you just,
or it's like that role. It's
like,
it's like the role playing thing from GTA or like Second Life or something. But it's like, I like having a guided experience or a story,
right?
Assuming it's good. So that's why I don't particularly like Minecraft, or just like The Sims. It's like, I want to do so. I want to have I want to have like an objective or be told to do something, and I got to figure out how to do it, not just do whatever you want, man. It's like, okay, what I want is turn this off.
Yeah, I mean, they said that they have 3 like main phases for this, which one of them is just making technology so that the creators can be more creative and transcend physical, virtual, and time dimensions. I don't know. We're gonna get Doctor Who in here. And they're gonna connect diverse people and values across boundaries to foster vibrant community. That's stuff they already try to do. And just try to basically keep expanding people's imaginations and things with gaming.
Right.
They even had Neil Druckmann on there talking about their next game is going to transcend gaming, and then he said that he's misquoted. Whatever. It's an interesting thing Sony does with this. Some of that stuff might happen. I do think that eventually, we're already seeing it, right? Like, graphics are hitting the wall as far as like how much of a difference is it really making to people that have been around games long enough, right?
Yeah.
Look, it looks prettier, but is it really that big of a difference to what we're, to everything?
Right.
It gets more and more realistic, but at some point it's like, okay, you're still playing a game here, right? So yeah, if that means they're gonna be able to put in more emotion and more stuff into narrative, then that's cool. If we don't focus so much on graphics, that'd be great, because it seems like we start knocking people for that kind of stuff, and it seems unnecessary, and go after people for that. But
yeah.
In an interesting thing that happened, Atari acquired Intellivision. The first console war that happened. They're not getting the Amico though. That's apparently still its own thing that's gonna apparently like not come out
Right.
ever. Probably because Atari was like, why are we gonna grab this thing that we don't care about?
Yeah, we don't need consoles running off like 15-year-old cell phones or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, they already have their own console thing.
Right.
That they make.
Also wasn't that successful. So
right. It's like, let's not bring this thing in here that's gonna just do nothing. So
yeah.
But yeah, they have the rights to the name, the branding, and all the games, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they could put out some more like in television games and like, here you go. Here's the HD version, or here's like the remix version or something.
Right.
I don't know. I think you're like a year or two younger than me, but I've never even touched or seen. I've messed with an Atari 2600 briefly,
yeah,
but anything else, anything of that era, I've never even like barely even touched or even seen.
Yeah, the only reason I did is because it was like my dad's, and he never used it. My grandparents still had it, so when I went to Arkansas, I could play it. But it was like, even for me back then, I was like, this is too old. Like,
I bought a 2600 once when I was like in college, and I couldn't even figure out how to like hook it up to like a modern TV back then. Yeah. So forget about it now,
Right. Yeah. Obviously now the one that comes out, the one that's out there now is definitely much easier to use.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's cool. It's one of those like historical things for gaming that, hey, at least it's all under one company now, and
don't worry. Once Nintendo finally buys Sega,
yeah, that'd be interesting, right? If that ever happens. But yeah, Nintendo did buy a studio. They bought it from Embracer Group, Shiver Entertainment. They're the ones that actually worked on the Hogwarts Legacy and Mortal Kombat 1 ports for the Switch. So makes sense, right?
Yeah.
They did, buy that movie company and SRD, a couple years ago. They bought Next Level Games, which are the people that did the Luigi's Mansion 3. And way before that, I mean, they don't really buy a lot of studios most of the time, but way before that, that's when they bought Monolith Soft back in 2007. So you see the difference between 2007 all the way to 2021 is the next time they bought a company. So Nintendo doesn't do this very often. So I wonder what Embracer did to get Nintendo to be on the hook for.
Well, I think those were like two.
Yeah,
they were like two of the better port jobs.
That's
for
true.
The Switch.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we can buy this probably for a song, and they can make better ports of our games.
I mean, they wouldn't make a ton of ports as it is, so
yeah.
Guess why not? You got a whole next generation console where you can make ports. So now you have a
probably like here's these slightly up-res ports of Twilight Prince, or not Twilight Princess, like Tears of the Kingdom or something, or we can unlock the frame rate on these games. So have at it.
Go for it. In the weirder news, this is like kind of one of those that like I saw and I was like, really? IGN bought a bunch of other gaming websites. Well, not IGN, Ziff Davis, just to be fair.
Right.
But still, like they're all under the one banner.
They bought them and then they laid off a bunch of the big people at them.
Yeah, I know, and that's what's so terrible is that they bought them and then laid off so many people. Of course, this includes GameIndustry.biz, Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, BG247, and Dicebreaker. They also own Digital Foundry. Gonna be interesting what happens if anything happens to any of them. Push Square, Pure Xbox, some other stuff too. So
I think Digital Foundry is probably the one. At least the front-facing people will be fine. I mean,
the three that are always on the shows.
Yeah, on video. But like some of the background people may get laid off, but I think Digital Foundry is probably the more popular.
Yeah, that's the one that still gets used today, right? And like GameIndustries.biz is like chief editor getting
Yeah, Brandon Sinclair, who's been around for like decades.
That freaking sucks, man. GI.biz is still one of the leaders in gaming, especially on the business side. As great as, Rebecca Valentine is over there for them, like she still, talks to some of the folks at GI.biz and all that. So it's like, now y'all own them. It's weird. It seems like a conflict of interest. And then it's like you're gutting a lot of these great websites for gaming. It's like, man, games media is really just going down the tubes, as they would say. Pour one out for those folks. I hate seeing that, for sure. But I guess and it's funny because my gym trainer was actually talking about this today, and I had to actually tell him that Grand Theft Auto 6 will not be coming out in like February or March of 2025. I'm sorry, but you will have to wait till fall or autumn of 2025 instead. And he's like, dude, I was already like planning when I was going to be off and everything, bro. And I was like, yeah, well, just make those plans a lot further away, because that's when this is going to happen, apparently.
Right. Until they actually give like a firm release date, I would
Yeah.
never make plans like for.
But this is such a huge game. Like, I can understand people wanting to, be off for a while to play this or whatever. But yeah, Strauss Zelnick did an interview with CNBC where he basically talked about, they feel like they still have a lot to go on making the game, and they want to do this so that they can ensure that it will launch in fall of 2025, which I think I think that that's a much better thing than having the game come out and then you're having to fix it for 6 months. This is such a huge game for the entire industry. You can't screw this up. Like, there's so much pressure on Rockstar for this game. Like, between the Switch 2 and this, like, people are counting on this to like carry the load for 2025. So,
right,
yeah,
and it'll be funny when it misses the release date and comes out in 2026.
I wouldn't be surprised either. I would not be surprised either. And people are it's gonna be they're gonna make a big deal about it. But listen, when Grand Theft Auto 5 has shipped approximately 200 million units since it released in 2013, I don't think it really matters. That game's gonna do freaking bonkers when it comes out, whenever it does. So, but in the sad news for the same company, we talked about this previously. Strauss Zelnick tried to kind of put it on the rug and say that they didn't kill off the studios, but the team in Intercept Games is going to be laid off in June, apparently, according to a LinkedIn update. So
it's like I would ask them. It's like, okay, if the entire it's like the ship of Theseus. If the entire team is gone, does the company still exist? No.
Right. It's like, well, you're just gonna put a whole new team and call them Intercept Games. Okay, maybe you could do that, but they're not really Intercept. They're not Intercept Games at that point.
Yeah, I'll take. I mean, even if you want to do that, it'd take them like a year or two to like staff up and hopefully even get to the level where Intercept wasn't now, let alone about their future plans for, Kerbal.
Yeah, it's insane, man. That
so think about like that. I mean, it's a long time ago, but that Kingdoms of Amalur MMO,
right?
Like, it wasn't finished, but it was pretty far along when it got crushed out, or when 38 Studios, not 38. Well, yeah, 38 Studios imploded.
38 Studios.
And like no other company wanted to take up the game, or had the money or drive to pick it up and finish it. So it's just gonna be like that with Kerbal. The difference is like the difference is like most most Steam early access stuff, when it does fall apart, it's one or two guys making it, or some very small team, not at the behest of Take-Two.
Right.
So Yep, something to consider.
Did you see the trailer for Multiverses returning?
No, but I know it's already out and it's already having issues.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool that they showed like Joker and Agent Smith, and so apparently they're gonna have like more villains this time around. So
Makes sense. I mean, it's not like it's not like Smash Brothers is all hero game. Like you
right.
need villains.
Oh, exactly. Plus, I mean, they have such a big stable of them. Like, why not?
Right.
You know, definitely would help you there for sure.
Yeah.
And like you said, yes, it is already out as of the 28th. I think it came out. So yeah, it's sad to see that it's already having problems, as they were trying to. Hopefully, those get ironed out really quickly because they really want this to be like a big comeback for them. So
Right.
yeah. But I mean, talking about other games that are coming out here, unless you have anything else you wanted to bring up, or we?
Nah, not really.
Yeah.
Or...
Okay. Yeah. So Destiny 2, The Final Shape comes out on June 4th, which won't be before we do the next show. That'll be on the last day of May, on the 31st. But that'll be coming soon. I'm sure all the Destiny folks are excited about that. The Killer Clowns from Outer Space also comes out that day.
Yeah.
It's everything with. Were you interested in this at all? I know some folks that are.
Because I don't like any of these 1-on-4.
Oh yeah, it's another one of those 1-on-4 games. That's right.
Yeah, that they always crank out, and it's like, okay, I can kind of buy Dead by Daylight because that was like the first one, or like the first one I.
And Dead by Daylight's like really successful as well. So.
Yeah, but after Ash vs. Evil Dead, Friday the 13th, these games come out for like 6 months, and then they get crushed out because of like licensing or because no one's playing them. And it's like, well, yeah, because Dead by Daylight already exists. Like,
right. Songs of Silence, which is like a indie like strategy narrative focused strategy game that comes out also the same day. The beginning of the month is not super strong. It's more towards later part of the month where you start getting some stuff. Like Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance coming out.
Yeah, I got that pre-ordered. Yep.
Still Wakes the Deep. Yeah, it's not a huge, and then of course Elden Ring's DLC.
Right.
The 21st. So that's the big one everybody's waiting on. The 21st, that Elden Ring DLC. Everything else is just going to be kind of paling in comparison. And then of course, I think Dawn Trail supposed to come out, and then he moved it, I think. But yeah. So that being said, that'll do it for this long episode that should have happened like many days ago. But hey, at least we got it done. Thank you for watching live, for listening later. I forgot to do the stuff at the beginning, but go check out all the other shows if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Radisher Broadcasting, all of that. They just did a new show, a new episode, basically right before we did this one. So they always got all the new movies that they're talking about. The same thing with the anime, all the new anime. The Otaku Cafe folks are doing that over there. So, all right, until Friday. We'll see you later, everybody.
Later.
Bye.